Hook, the allure of the curse. Have you ever felt trapped by something invisible, something beyond your control? Imagine waking up every day, feeling the weight of an unseen force pressing down on your life. The concept of curses has haunted humanity for thousands of years, transcending cultures, religions, and civilizations. A curse is more than just a superstition. It is a powerful narrative that can influence reality, shaping destinies in ways that seem impossible to explain. Across time, there have been countless stories, some recorded in history, others whispered through mythology, that describe the terrifying grip of curses on human lives. From pharaohs in ancient Egypt to warriors in Greece, from tribal leaders in Africa to families in India, the fear of a curse is universal. And yet, intertwined with these tales of darkness, there is an enduring thread of hope, the ability to break these curses, to confront the unknown and reclaim one's life. When we speak of curses, we are not merely talking about fictional stories from ancient myths. Many historical events seem to bear the fingerprints of forces beyond ordinary comprehension. Take, for example, the curse of King Tutankhamun. When the tomb of the young pharaoh was opened in 1922, several members of the expedition died under mysterious circumstances. Scientists and historians debated whether these deaths were coincidental or whether something far more sinister was at play. This story alone captured the imagination of the world, blurring the line between legend and reality. It demonstrates that the fear of curses is deeply rooted in the human psyche. But why are we so fascinated by curses? Perhaps it is the drama of the unknown, the tension between fate and free will, the haunting question of whether our lives are truly our own. Curses force us to consider the existence of unseen powers, forces that can either destroy or transform us. They challenge our courage, our faith, and our ability to confront adversity. In a world where most things can be explained by science or logic, the concept of a curse remains one of the few mysteries that resists rational explanation. In this video, we will journey through the real-life stories of curses, both historical and contemporary. We will explore how religion, mythology, and spiritual belief have shaped the understanding of these mysterious forces. We will dive into tales of despair, terror, and misfortune, and most importantly, we will reveal the extraordinary stories of those who broke these curses. These stories are not just about fear. They are about courage, faith, and the indomitable human spirit. By the end of this journey, you will understand that curses are more than myths. They are reflections of the struggles, beliefs, and resilience of humanity. But you will also learn that no matter how dark a curse may seem, it is not invincible. Courage, wisdom, and faith have the power to confront and break even the oldest, most terrifying curses. So prepare yourself. The stories you are about to hear will challenge your understanding of reality, test your courage, and perhaps even awaken a sense of awe at the mysterious forces that shape our world. For within these tales of darkness lies the ultimate truth. Every curse, no matter how powerful, can be broken. Throughout human history, the concept of a curse has been intertwined with religion, mythology, and historical events. From the earliest civilizations to modern societies, curses have been used to explain the unexplainable. The sudden misfortunes, inexplicable deaths, and mysterious illnesses that seem to strike without warning. These stories are more than superstition. They are reflections of the human desire to understand forces beyond our control. They are the narratives that give meaning to chaos, giving names and faces to the invisible powers that shape our lives. In religious texts, curses often serve as warnings or consequences for human behavior. In the Old Testament, we read about the generations that suffered because of the sins of their ancestors, a theme known as generational curses. These curses were believed to have real, tangible effects on families and communities, shaping destinies and influencing human choices. The story of the plagues in Egypt, for example, has been interpreted not only as divine punishment, but also as a form of supernatural curse meant to assert the power of a higher authority. Similarly, in the New Testament, there are accounts of individuals being freed from spiritual oppression through faith, prayer, and divine intervention. These religious narratives show that curses are not only instruments of fear, they are tests of courage, faith, and morality. Mythology, on the other hand, often personifies curses as entities or objects imbued with power. In Greek mythology, the story of Oedipus demonstrates how a prophecy, essentially a curse, can shape a person's entire life. Despite attempts to avoid it, the curse manifests, showing the terrifying inevitability that curses can sometimes represent. Other myths, like the tale of the Gorgon Medusa, present curses as literal forces capable of destruction. Medusa's gaze could turn men to stone, a metaphorical and literal representation of the power curses can wield in human imagination. These myths serve as lessons, warning of the dangers of pride, disobedience, or disrespect toward the divine. Historical records also contain numerous examples where curses were believed to influence real events. The curse of the Hope Diamond, for instance, allegedly brought misfortune and tragedy to several of its owners throughout history. Archaeologists, historians, and anthropologists have documented these accounts, noting that while some may be coincidental, the consistent patterns of misfortune create a narrative too compelling to ignore. In Africa and Asia, curses have been used as tools of social control, as mechanisms for justice, or as protective measures against enemies. These real-world applications show that the concept of a curse is not merely mythological. It has tangible effects on human behavior and society. What makes curses fascinating is the intersection of belief and reality. Many modern scientists argue that the power of a curse lies in the psychology of those who believe in it. Fear, expectation, and superstition can influence decisions and outcomes, effectively creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yet even in modern times, individuals report experiences that defy logical explanation. From sudden healings to the breaking of long-standing misfortunes, there are countless accounts that suggest something beyond ordinary understanding may be at work. As we continue through this journey, you will encounter stories from diverse cultures, religions, and historical periods, each illustrating the enduring human fascination with curses. You will learn that while curses can instill fear, they also inspire bravery, faith, and resilience. Understanding their origins, manifestations, and methods of breaking them provides a window into the human soul, a reflection of our fears, hopes, and unyielding determination to overcome forces that seem insurmountable. By exploring these stories, we not only uncover the mysteries of curses, but also discover universal truths, the power of belief, the strength of courage, and the enduring hope that even the darkest forces can be confronted and overcome. In 1922, the world was captivated by one of the most extraordinary archaeological discoveries in history, the tomb of King Tutankhamun, the young pharaoh of ancient Egypt. Hidden in the Valley of the Kings for over 3,000 years, the tomb promised to reveal secrets of a civilization long past. When Howard Carter, the British archaeologist, finally opened the burial chamber, the world did not yet understand that this discovery would give birth to one of the most enduring legends of curses in modern history, the curse of King Tut. The story begins with the sudden and mysterious deaths of individuals associated with the excavation. Lord Carnarvon, the wealthy sponsor of the dig, famously died from an infected mosquito bite just months after the tomb's opening. Newspapers around the world sensationalized his death, claiming it was the vengeance of the pharaoh himself. Soon after, others connected to the expedition died under circumstances deemed unusual or untimely, fueling the idea that an ancient curse had been unleashed upon anyone who dared disturb the pharaoh's final resting place. But what was it about King Tut's tomb that inspired such fear? Ancient Egyptian culture viewed the afterlife as sacred, and the tombs of pharaohs were meticulously guarded, both physically and spiritually. Hieroglyphs on the walls warned intruders of the consequences of trespassing. The Egyptians believed that disturbing a tomb could invoke the wrath of the gods, ensuring misfortune, illness, or even death upon the violator. This belief was deeply ingrained in their culture, a reflection of the sacredness of life, death, and the divine order. Historians and scientists have debated whether the so-called curse was real or merely a product of coincidence and superstition. Some argue that bacteria, mold, and the stress of exposure to ancient pathogens may have contributed to the illnesses and deaths of those involved. Others emphasize the psychological impact. The fear and expectation of a curse can profoundly affect individuals, potentially influencing their health and behavior. Regardless of scientific explanations, the cultural and historical significance of these deaths cannot be denied. The narrative of the curse became a symbol, a story that captivated the imagination of the world and has endured for over a century. Beyond the sensationalism, the curse of King Tut offers a deeper lesson about the intersection of belief and human psychology. Curses, whether real or imagined, demonstrate the power of perception and the influence of cultural narratives on reality. The fear of supernatural punishment can shape behavior, inspire caution, and even alter outcomes in ways that seem almost mystical. The story of Tutankhamun's tomb reminds us that our ancestors, though separated by millennia, shared the same vulnerabilities, hopes, and fears that we do today. The legend also touches on a universal human theme, the confrontation with the unknown. Every civilization has grappled with forces beyond understanding, forces that control destiny and threaten existence. Ancient Egyptians personified these forces in gods, spirits, and curses, using them to enforce morality, protect sacred spaces, and explain the inexplicable. The curse of King Tut exemplifies this ancient worldview, demonstrating how fear and reverence are intertwined in human culture. Yet the story of the curse is not only one of fear, it is also one of resilience and discovery. Despite the alleged danger, countless scholars, archaeologists, and enthusiasts continued to explore Egypt, unlocking secrets of the past, preserving history, and expanding human knowledge. Their courage serves as a reminder that even the most terrifying legends can be faced and overcome. Ultimately, the curse of King Tut is more than a historical anecdote. It is a narrative that blends history, mythology, and human psychology. It challenges us to question what we fear, why we fear it, and how belief shapes our reality. It is a story that endures because it speaks to something universal, the tension between curiosity and caution, the unknown and the known, and the eternal human desire to confront darkness even when the cost is uncertain. Throughout history, religion has been humanity's most enduring tool for confronting forces that seem beyond comprehension. Curses, misfortunes, and unexplained tragedies have often been interpreted through the lens of faith. Across cultures and eras, religious practices have offered both explanations and solutions for these dark forces. The fundamental idea is simple yet profound. Belief, prayer, and spiritual action can transform reality, protect the vulnerable, and even break what seems inevitable. One of the most compelling aspects of religious curses is the concept of generational consequences. In many religious traditions, the sins or mistakes of ancestors were believed to cast a shadow on their descendants. The Old Testament is filled with narratives of curses affecting families for generations. For example, in the book of Exodus, the Pharaoh's obstinacy brought plagues upon the Egyptians, demonstrating that collective actions could invoke divine punishment. Similarly, The story of King Ahab in the Book of Kings shows how personal failings and rebellion could unleash consequences that affected entire kingdoms. These narratives are not merely allegorical. They reflect a deep human understanding of cause and effect, morality and responsibility. Yet religion does not only dwell on punishment, it also emphasizes redemption, courage, and the power to overcome curses. Across Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and other faiths, there are countless examples of individuals breaking free from misfortune through acts of devotion, prayer, or ritual. In Christianity, faith is portrayed as a powerful shield against evil forces. The story of Jesus healing the afflicted, casting out demons, and breaking curses serves as a blueprint for believers to confront spiritual oppression. Similarly, in Islam, the practice of reciting protective verses from the Quran is considered a method to ward off negative forces and break malevolent influences. These stories demonstrate that faith is not passive. It is an active engagement with the forces that shape our lives. In Hinduism, the concept of karma illustrates a spiritual form of cause and effect that can manifest as a form of curse or blessing. Rituals, offerings, and meditative practices are used to counteract negative karma and restore balance. Individuals who believe in these practices often report profound psychological relief and tangible improvements in their circumstances, highlighting the intersection of faith, perception, and reality. Across cultures, the theme is consistent. Belief itself can transform outcomes. One of the most remarkable aspects of religious approaches to curses is the role of community. Prayers, rituals, and blessings are often performed collectively, reinforcing the idea that shared faith amplifies spiritual power. Congregations, temples, mosques, and churches become focal points where belief is concentrated, creating a powerful psychological and spiritual effect. This communal reinforcement not only strengthens individuals, but also fosters resilience, hope, and courage, which are essential for confronting seemingly insurmountable challenges. It's important to note that religion also provides ethical guidance in dealing with curses. Many traditions warn against attempting to harm others through spiritual means, emphasizing that true power comes from positive intent, compassion, and moral integrity. This principle transforms the narrative of curses from one of fear into a story of personal growth, responsibility, and spiritual awakening. Ultimately, the religious perspective teaches that curses, whether literal or metaphorical, are not invincible. They can be confronted, resisted, and broken through faith, action, and courage. Belief becomes a weapon against despair, a shield against malevolent forces, and a source of hope in the darkest moments. Religion reminds us that even when the world seems determined to punish or oppress, human resilience, guided by divine principles, can prevail. Through these stories, we see that curses are not merely external forces. They are challenges to the human spirit, and the power of faith, devotion, and righteous action offers a path to liberation, healing, and transformation. In every prayer whispered, every ritual performed, and every act of courage, there lies the possibility to break free from what binds us and reclaim control over our destiny. Greek mythology is filled with tales of gods, heroes, and mortals whose fates were shaped by forces beyond their control. Among these stories, few are as chilling and enduring as the tale of Medusa, the Gorgon whose gaze could turn men to stone. Medusa's story is more than a myth. It is a powerful metaphor for fear, power, and the consequences of divine wrath. It reveals how curses, whether literal or symbolic, can dominate lives, and how courage, cleverness, and perseverance are essential to breaking them. Medusa was not always the terrifying creature depicted in legends. According to the myth, she was once a beautiful maiden, a priestess of Athena, who became the victim of a tragic curse. After an incident in Athena's temple, Medusa was transformed into a gorgon as punishment, with serpents for hair and a gaze capable of instant petrification. This transformation was more than physical. It made her an outcast, feared and hunted by all who encountered her. Her curse was total. Her beauty, once admired, became a weapon of terror, and she was condemned to live isolated from the world she once belonged to. The myth of Medusa reflects ancient Greek understanding of divine power, morality, and the inevitability of fate. Curses in Greek mythology often served as instruments of the gods, enforcing rules and punishing hubris, disrespect, or moral failure. Medusa's curse demonstrates that no mortal could escape the consequences of actions or the will of the divine. Yet, embedded within this story is a universal lesson. Even the most formidable curses can be challenged and, in some ways, broken. The hero, Perseus, embodies this confrontation. Armed with divine gifts, a reflective shield from Athena, a sword from Hephaestus, and guidance from the gods, he approached Medusa not with brute force but with strategy, caution, and intelligence. By using the shield as a mirror to avoid direct eye contact, Perseus was able to approach Medusa safely and ultimately behead her. The act symbolizes the human ability to confront and overcome what seems invincible. It is not brute strength alone, but wisdom, courage, and careful planning that allow one to break the power of a curse. Beyond its dramatic narrative, Medusa's curse has resonated through centuries as a symbol of fear, empowerment, and transformation. Artists, writers, and psychologists have interpreted her story in countless ways, seeing in Medusa both the danger of unchecked power and the potential for liberation. Her head, preserved and used as a weapon by Perseus, represents the paradox of curses. Even in their power to harm, they carry the seeds of transformation, insight, and ultimately victory. The myth also underscores a psychological truth. Fear has the power to paralyze, isolate, and dominate. Just as Medusa's gaze could freeze her victims, curses, whether literal, mythological, or metaphorical, can immobilize the human spirit. But as Perseus demonstrates, awareness, preparation, and courage can turn fear into triumph. The ability to confront what terrifies us, to face the curse rather than flee, is a timeless lesson reflected in cultures around the world. Moreover, Medusa's story connects to themes of justice and morality. The curse was both a punishment and a test, an opportunity for heroes to prove themselves and for individuals to reflect on ethics, hubris, and accountability. In this way, myths like Medusa's offer more than entertainment. They provide frameworks for understanding human behavior, resilience, and the confrontation of dark forces. Ultimately, the legend of Medusa teaches that curses, whether literal or metaphorical, are not absolute. They challenge us, instill fear, and demand courage. But with insight, strategy, and determination, even the deadliest curse can be overcome. The story is a reminder that the forces that seem to bind us are often surmountable, and that bravery and intelligence are among humanity's greatest weapons against darkness. The Celtic world, with its misty forests, ancient stone circles, and powerful druidic traditions, has long been a source of myths and legends surrounding curses and supernatural forces. Among these tales, one of the most enduring is that of family curses, long-lasting afflictions believed to plague generations of a single bloodline. These curses were thought to result from past misdeeds, disrespect to the gods, or the wrath of powerful spirits. Yet, within these stories of despair, there is also a recurring theme of courage, resilience, and the potential to break even the most entrenched curse. Celtic culture placed immense importance on ancestral honor, morality, and spiritual balance. Misfortune that repeatedly afflicted a family was often interpreted as a curse passed down through generations. These curses could manifest in various ways: sudden deaths, illnesses, financial ruin, failed marriages, or repeated accidents. Unlike curses in other cultures, which were sometimes attributed to a single act or individual, Celtic curses often reflected a sense of collective responsibility. The sins of one generation could ripple through time, affecting descendants who may have been unaware of the original transgression. One famous example comes from the Scottish Highlands, where certain clans were believed to carry curses that influenced their fortunes for centuries. According to legend, a clan that violated sacred laws or angered the local spirits would suffer persistent misfortune. Families would see wealth vanish, leaders fall unexpectedly, and young warriors die in inexplicable ways. These stories were not merely fanciful. They were part of the cultural framework that guided behavior, enforced social norms, and reinforced spiritual beliefs. Yet, Celtic legends also emphasize that curses are not absolute. They can be confronted and broken. Rituals performed by druids, acts of courage, or gestures of reconciliation with offended spirits could lift a curse and restore balance. The key element in breaking a family curse, according to these myths, was courage. Individuals had to confront not only the tangible challenges in their lives, but also the psychological weight of generational misfortune. By taking responsibility, performing rituals, and acting with bravery, descendants could change their fate. The symbolism in these stories is profound. Forests, rivers, and stone circles often serve as metaphors for the unknown challenges that life presents. The curses themselves symbolize obstacles passed down through history, testing resilience, wisdom, and moral integrity. In overcoming a curse, individuals gain more than freedom. They acquire insight, strength, and a renewed connection to their heritage. Courage, in this context, is both physical and spiritual. It is the ability to face the unknown, to confront fear, and to take decisive action even when the odds seem insurmountable. Modern interpretations of Celtic curses also highlight their psychological dimension. The idea of a generational curse can influence behavior and decision-making, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Belief in misfortune may heighten anxiety, affect choices, and even impact health. Yet when individuals confront the notion of a curse with intention, knowledge, and courage, they can break these patterns. Rituals, meditation, and symbolic acts of cleansing or reconciliation, whether historically accurate or modern adaptations, serve as tools to reclaim control and restore balance. Ultimately, Celtic legends teach that curses are not just punitive, they are tests of the human spirit. They challenge individuals to confront fear, act with courage, and restore harmony to their lives. The enduring fascination with family curses in Celtic culture reflects a universal truth. Adversity, whether perceived as supernatural or mundane, can be overcome through bravery, wisdom, and persistent effort. Each story of breaking a Celtic curse is a testament to human resilience and the timeless power of courage to defy even the most entrenched forces of misfortune. As we journey through the stories of curses, ancient, mythical, and modern, it becomes clear that misfortune is never solely external. Whether it is the terrifying gaze of Medusa, the generational hardships in Celtic families, the alleged curse of King Tut, or patterns of modern misfortune, the true power of a curse lies in its ability to instill fear, doubt, and paralysis in the human mind. Yet across centuries and cultures, one consistent truth emerges. Courage, faith, and deliberate action are the ultimate tools to confront and overcome even the darkest forces. Courage is the first and perhaps most essential element in breaking a curse. To face a curse is to face fear in its purest form, the fear of the unknown, the unseen, and the uncontrollable. Throughout history, individuals who have confronted curses have demonstrated extraordinary bravery. Perseus faced Medusa with careful strategy and unwavering focus, overcoming a creature that symbolized death itself. Celtic ancestors and shamans confronted generational misfortune with rituals that required precision, intent, and bravery. Modern individuals, too, confront patterns of misfortune through psychological insight, therapy, and disciplined action. In every case, courage is the bridge between fear and liberation, the essential first step that transforms helplessness into empowerment. Faith amplifies courage. Across religions and spiritual traditions, faith has served as a shield against forces perceived as malevolent. Whether through prayer, recitation of sacred texts, meditation, or rituals, faith provides structure, hope, and direction. It connects the individual to something greater than themselves, offering reassurance that the struggle is not faced alone. St. Benedict, African shamans, or a family performing protective rituals in India all exemplify the profound strength that faith contributes to breaking a curse. Faith transforms fear into resilience, offering the belief that misfortune, no matter how persistent, is not insurmountable. Deliberate action is the final and unifying component. Courage and faith, without purposeful steps, are insufficient to break the chains of misfortune. Rituals, prayers, symbolic acts, and focused intention create tangible mechanisms to counteract negative forces. Even in modern psychology, conscious actions, changing behavior, reframing thought patterns, and addressing recurring problems serve as practical tools to break the curse. The combination of courage, faith, and action establishes a powerful triad. One engages the mind, the spirit, and the body to reclaim control over life. The stories we have explored, mythical, historical, and contemporary, share a common thread. The human spirit is never powerless. Misfortune may test us, curses may challenge us, and fear may attempt to paralyze us, but these forces can be confronted and overcome. Each act of liberation, each story of breaking a curse, is a testament to the enduring strength of resilience, intention, and belief. They remind us that darkness is not an endpoint, but a catalyst for growth, transformation, and empowerment. In essence, curses are symbolic as much as they are literal. They represent the obstacles that confront us, the fear that threatens to immobilize us, and the uncertainty that challenges our resolve. By embracing courage, cultivating faith, and committing to deliberate action, we transform these obstacles into opportunities for empowerment. Every ritual, prayer, and intentional step is a declaration of sovereignty over our lives. Ultimately, the lesson is timeless. No curse, whether mythic, historical, or modern, can define the human spirit. Liberation is always possible when courage meets faith and is followed by deliberate action. The forces that seem insurmountable are powerful not because they are beyond us, but because we underestimate our own capacity to confront them. As we close this journey, remember, fear can only bind you if you allow it. Misfortune can only persist if you accept it, and curses, no matter how formidable, can be broken when courage, faith, and action unite. Step forward, confront the darkness, and reclaim your destiny. The power to break free has always been within you.